go and make it even better.
Right.
We start with our purpose, and we believe our purpose is to transform lives.
Right.
And within that, we talk of purpose, people before profit.
Right.
In there is the bit about who are you leaving behind? Because there are times when you can, in the process of making money, doing everything else,
Right.
there's that one person you may be leaving behind. So what we did was we came up with an employee assistance program.
Okay.
And in that program, or the framework was, first, it has to be led from the top in terms of leadership, sponsorship has to be real. You break it down into, you have a department or a unit that is purely looking at our health, safety, and well-being.
Right.
HSW, with a senior manager in charge of that area. And how we plow it is where we then say, what are some of those things that will make our people thrive?
Right.
We came up with a Thrive program, and it's about mind, which is about focus, body, which is about how do you just keep healthy,
Right.
heart, which is about relationships,
Right.
and soul, which is about your just purpose and your being grounded. Now, out of that, we said, in fact, during COVID, that was even much bigger one,
Right.
because we would have a weekly check-in, and we'll ask people, how are you feeling? We had 4 questions. How are you feeling? Second was, how enabled are you? Because people are working from home predominantly.
Right.
There was something about how collaborative are you with other colleagues?
Right.
And there was something about how are you delivering on your commitments? And in there, we started seeing people say 3 things. One, you see, I'm anxious.
Right.
And that was COVID, because they were anxious about their health. Will this thing hit the family? What if? A few will say, I'm stressed out.
Right.
And in spite of all this anxiety I have targets to meet. And rarely will you hear anybody say, I'm depressed. But the first 2 were the ones that you'll see people saying, I'm anxious.
Right.
And then we started asking, so what can we do differently to make you feel at home? It is as personal as it gets. And what we did was we've trained over 500 of our staff to be peer counselors.
Right.
Because that's the first line of defense, where you can monitor and say, Paul isn't behaving the same way he has been. Is there something?
Right.
Or even just check in and say, how are you doing? And then we have a 24/7 psychosocial support system. So we have professional counselors who work with our people anonymously. And we've impressed on the need, I don't need to know who is seeking any services as an HR lead. So I think that whole framework was big. But we also moved to the line manager. And the first line of stress sometimes will come with the targets. And it's a case of saying, how do you ensure that you work with your people and you're more empathetic? Of course, the support that comes in.
Right.
And that has become one of those things that we say, it has to be an integrated program where you do that. That said, it's also where we encourage our people to talk about it.
Right.
And especially where leaders come in and say, I'm not okay.
Right.
That has been the biggest piece, where you start role modeling the I'm not okay. Because when you ask, how are you today? And you say, I'm fine.
I'm alive.
And I'm alive.
Yes.
And then we smile through it.
Right.
But deep, people are hurting, people have financial issues, they have relationship issues, they have health issues,
Right.
they have grief. So we've allowed people to be, and that is a tough journey to go.
Right, and of course this plays a part in ensuring that maybe mental health is a priority for a lot of businesses, but typically Kenyan businesses often prioritize profit over people, which is a conversation we're going to be having as we continue with this interview. But first, let's take